It's usually quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the kind that echoes. You're in a house with other people. You hear footsteps, doors closing, the television murmuring in another room, but no one is with you. You learn early what it feels like to sit in your room and feel a hollow space inside your chest. Not because you're alone, but because you're unnoticed. You don't feel missed. You don't feel chosen. You feel tolerated. You learn how to entertain yourself, how to stay busy, how to not bother anyone. You learn how to be emotionally independent before you're emotionally ready. And here's the paradox no one names. The thing that made you strong as a child is the thing that makes intimacy feel impossible as an adult. You didn't feel lonely because you lacked love. You felt lonely because love was inconsistent, distracted, or conditional. So you adapted. You became quieter, or more helpful, or more self-sufficient. You stopped expecting warmth and started expecting absence. And even now, long after childhood, part of you still believes, if I need too much, I'll be alone again. Psychologically, a child who feels lonely at home isn't neglected in obvious ways. They're emotionally orphaned while physically provided for. Let's name the architecture beneath this experience. 1. Emotional neglect schema. Emotional neglect isn't about abuse. It's about absence. No one consistently noticed your inner world. No one lingered with your feelings. No one taught you how to feel with another human. The message absorbed wasn't spoken aloud, but it landed deeply. My emotions don't matter enough to be met. So your nervous system learned to self-contain. 2. Parentification. In many lonely homes, children grow up too early. You might have managed your own emotions, avoided adding stress, supported adults emotionally. You became the emotional adult in the room and lost your right to be a child. Responsibility replaced comfort. 3. Avoidant or fearful attachment. When connection feels unreliable, attachment becomes strategic. You crave closeness, but you don't trust it. So you learn to stay near without depending. Present, but guarded. Affectionate, but braced for withdrawal. This reshapes your default mode network, the part of the brain that answers the question, what should I expect from others? And the answer becomes, not much. This isn't personality, it's adaptation. Carl Jung once wrote, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. The lonely child doesn't cry loudly. They withdraw quietly. They carry invisible grief. Grief for being unseen, being emotionally unheld, being alone with big feelings too early. You learn not to ask for comfort, not to reach, not to hope too much. You trade authenticity for acceptance. Over and over again. The core fear beneath this loneliness is not fear of being alone. It's fear of being emotionally abandoned again. Fear that if you relax, no one will notice. Fear that if you express need, it won't be met. Fear that closeness will disappear without warning. So even simple moments become complicated. Asking for help, sharing excitement, expressing sadness, letting someone take care of you. You become emotionally self-sufficient, but deeply tired. This is the quiet tragedy of the lonely child. You learn to survive without love, but you never stop needing it. The lonely child doesn't disappear with age. They become adults with patterns. You might, in relationships, feel lonely even when partnered, struggle to feel emotionally understood, choose emotionally distant people, fear asking for reassurance. In career, overwork to feel valuable. Seek validation through productivity, feel empty after success, avoid relying on others. In self-worth, tie worth to independence, feel guilty for needing support, minimize your pain, believe you should handle everything alone. With boundaries, hesitate to ask for space, feel selfish for having needs, overextend emotionally, stay silent when hurt. With emotional regulation, self-soothe instead of co-regulate, intellectualize feelings, numb out when overwhelmed, carry chronic emotional fatigue. With identity, feel unsure of who you are without roles, define yourself by usefulness, struggle to feel at home anywhere. Ask, why do I feel alone even with people? These are not character flaws. They are coping strategies that once kept you emotionally alive. Unlearning begins with awareness, not self-blame. Not saying, what's wrong with me? But gently asking, what happened to me? Healing the lonely child doesn't mean forcing connection. It means learning to receive it. 1. Inner child, reparenting. You become the presence you didn't have. You say, your feelings matter. You're not too much. You don't have to earn closeness. Slowly, safety becomes internal. 2. Shadow work. You reclaim the parts you buried. Need dependency, longing, softness, not to drown in them, but to integrate them. 3. Nervous system regulation. Loneliness lives in the body. Gentle breath, grounding, safe touch, co-regulation with trusted people, teaching your system. Connection doesn't always leave. 4. Choosing softness over survival. You stop asking, how do I stay independent? And start asking, who feels safe enough to let in? One moment of vulnerability, one honest need, one shared silence at a time. As Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, love consists in this, that two solitudes protect and touch and greet each other. You were never broken. You were alone too early. The goal is not to be fixed, but to become whole. If this felt like it was written for you, it's because a part of you is ready to come home. Share this with someone who grew up feeling alone in a crowded house. Stay, because healing doesn't happen in isolation anymore. You are allowed to belong.